they've moved him from a main event match with Kenny Omega now straight into like a group feud, but a kind of a comedy feud. This one I know is going to be controversial, but I thought this worked. I thought this worked really well. I thought that the Wingmen paired, they really were a nice fit against the Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. I really liked this.
I completely agree. So I wish you were on our pre-show because Bonds and I kind of dissect this one pretty good. You know, talk about making chicken soup out of chicken, you know what?
Yep.
The Wingmen are taking every opportunity they have and running with it and flying with it, no pun intended, because honestly, like 4 guys, you know, Pretty Peter, Avalon, and Cesar Bononi have kind of been pairing up for a while, but then you add Nemeth and JD Drake. It's kind of like this Odyssey kind of group that doesn't work but works very well. And this whole thing,
even commentary was saying, you know, these guys couldn't be more different. Like how do they fit in together? You have, you know, Pretty Peter Avalon, who was the librarian, kind of like, you know, he's his own story on himself.
Sure.
You know, the Hollywood hunk, who's, you know, that very traditional, like pretty boy, bad guy, cocky, arrogant guy, hilarious. JD Drake, who's, you know, you got the, you know, you and I like
the Southern guy that's rough and tough,
right? And then you got Cesar Bononi, this Brazilian big behemoth
stud.
It's really funny to see them, like just the visual of that group alone is funny, and then you get to see, you know, dude, Peter Avalon is pretty funny as a character. He's pretty compelling, like as you know, in this format, when you have a big guy like Cesar in your team and you have the numbers advantage and stuff. This was actually pretty hilarious, right? I found myself laughing at points out loud. That visual,
this visual is hilarious. I mean, the pre-promo was awesome. We're gonna make you pretty from Cesar Bononi, and then the fact that they were doing, you know, anytime he got knocked out to the ringside, they were doing makeovers, the hair, the spray tan, the jacket. I thought that was pure genius and comedic. It's funny. It was so well done. I mean, yes, it could maybe get a little over the top, but there was a lot of different things going on in this match.
I love it.
The ringside shenanigans from the Wingmen worked very well. It was a nice change of pace, and I think it'll work really well with live audiences as well. But stand out honestly, like Cesar. You know, I'm itching for this big man to show his size and use his size, and he was showing. This was probably one of the better matches he's had in AEW to date because he was using his big man strength. He was using his big man stuff. They said he had the Hoss toss or something like that, the announcers, which I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
And so he was looking really strong. And I think
he's starting
to get more polished. And looking against Orange Cassidy, he sold that Superman punch. Orange Cassidy went on like quite a run for sure. And I love that kind of like almost cheerleader tandem, huge flying out of the guys on the ringside with Orange Cassidy to kind of clear him out. But it was pretty comical, man. I think it was surprising. I was kind of last week when they announced this, I was a little bit surprised at the booking of it, but the way this panned out, I was pleasantly enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun, and it was a home run to me.
I love that all three of us give this segment an elite, because when you're looking at the way this match could have been, it could have been an absolute train wreck. And I think it was an example. AEW knows how to do comedy pretty well. I think that like the stuff with the makeover had me genuinely laughing. That visual that you gave at the end where Peter was holding Cesar, I was genuinely laughing out loud. I think that AEW is pretty darn good with comedy overall. One thing that I've noticed that they're not necessarily good at, though, is protecting their big men. And
that's a good point.
I've seen that trend happening. I think, you know, obviously Miro is a counter argument to that right now.
Right.
And he's been $1 million, but you know, we've talked about it you have the visual of seeing Cesar Bononi, this big, tough dude, get knocked out by OC is tough, right? That's a tough one to see. Because I think that Cesar could be presented as the big bad of that group that adds legitimacy to him. I don't think that that's going to, I mean, the Wingmen right now are what? You just think that they're kind of like a comedy act at this point?
It is, but it's going to work.
They're working.
They're going to get fans to win them or the fans are going to love them. The over the top ridiculousness. I mean, you talk about, I hate to cross compare. The New Day was so over the top ridiculous.
Right.
The fans just ate them up. But I mean, they could back it up in the ring. They're fantastic in the ring. And so if you start to get some W's under them, get some cool tandem moves.
You're right.
Have Cesaro be this dominant beast. Keep the comedy going, and it's going to work, and you're going to quickly have one of the hottest babyface teams in AEW.
I love that answer. And you're selling them. Somehow you're trying to poach the Wingmen from Team Heel over to Team Babyface. I'm not going to allow that to happen. Not on my watch, my friend.
It'll be a natural transition because they're going to get so over.
I hear you. I think that just their willingness to go all in and laugh at themselves and do whatever it takes to entertain fans. I think that that's what's making them feel like you just said it's you don't want to always do the cross comparisons between companies, but the New Day is a great comparison. Like naturally getting themselves over just by being hilarious and being themselves. I love
over
that.
The top. Yeah, it's going to work, and it's working.
It's working. The spray tan had me cracking up. I can't wait for that to be a part of their gimmick. I love that.